Yo, yo, yo. What's good? What's good? It's Stormybman, and I am back. Welcoming you to Answering the Bell with Stormybman for this Sunday, October 8th, 2023. This is our Sunday morning call-in where we talk about the sport that loves to hate us, but we love to enjoy and take in and partake in. Yeah! So we are here coming off of a Saturday that was full of fights. And we got a chance to see some interesting performances, turnabouts, knockouts. Man, 2023 has really, and this is no exaggeration, has really been a year of quality boxing. Though we haven't received all that we put on our Christmas list, the bag has been full. And if you want to bemoan and complain about the gifts that have been given, then you're just a particular individual and are unappreciative of what sweetness lies in the taste of life. Yeah! So we are here. This is number 93 in our series of call-ins, and we're just chugging right along. We've had some Sundays that we missed, and I've taken some days off, and ordinarily it'd be well over 100 by now, but I like the journey. I like the pace because you get a chance to smell the roses, so to speak. And it's always important to smell the roses. Some people want to clip the roses and put them in a vase, but they don't understand that the beauty of that flower and the protection of it are the thorns that are a part of its branches. The thorns are there for protection, people. Yeah, so if you love something, you need to protect it, huh? If you love someone, you need to protect them. That's a part of that natural thing in life. Not enough of us partake in that. But I'm here from time to time to remind, Yeah. So know these things. Be in good cheer out there, chat. As you all come in this morning, smash the like button and greet one another in a friendly manner. Because everybody ain't gonna make it, huh? And if we're trying to get there together, the best way to get there is to get there together. It's important. See, I want us all to come together, but some of us want to divide, huh? Separate. Make it us versus them. I don't know about you, but I like having somebody to talk to, somebody to rap about this beautiful sport with, huh? It's important. Everybody don't have that, though. Everybody doesn't have that. So you have to hold on to your own humanity. Don't let anybody take that away from you. The moment that you lose your humanity is the moment that you don't need to be here anymore. Compassion is very important, people. Very important. We're going to listen in. We're going to talk. We're going to share. We're going to laugh. We're going to get mad. It's all a part of the process. And at the end of it all, we're going to have a damn good show. Yeah. I'm going to take a moment out and see who's in the chat. I'm going to switch things up a little bit today on how I, put my my visuals together. I like to do that from time to time. And there'll be those who get angry and upset about that. But you know what? I don't care. You know what I'm saying? I don't care. Stormy don't care about that. Yeah. Sometimes to get entertained, catch people's attention, you do what you gotta do. Huh? Yeah. So, we are here for another call in. Huh? The Sunday morning call in. What you got for Stormy this morning? We're going to find out what you got for me, because we're going to open it up without any further delay. We're going to talk about some things today. Huh? Yeah. Going to talk about it. See what you guys got to say. Those fights last night, I want to say one thing about Mr. Laywood. Hey, we either call him laying wood now, huh? Because, pause, he knows how to get the job done, huh? I was just talking with one of the brothers earlier this week. I was like, man, I don't know what my pick for men's knockout of the year will be or anything. And then here comes Laywood saying, hold my beer. Yeah. An exciting match, huh? That took place between two UK fighters, featherweight division for the WBA featherweight title. Yeah. And man, talk about ebb and flow, back and forth, huh? Giving and getting. Mr. Warrington found himself on the canvas, suddenly out of nowhere. As Ralph Cramden used to say on the Honeymooners, bang, zoom. That was the sound of Laywood landing that right hook and that left hook. Flush. Warrington looked like he had fallen off of a ladder. He was trying to fix some gutters around the house and he fell off the ladder. Where's Jack Reese when you need him? I don't know, but there wasn't Jack Reese in there that night, huh? Did you know that in the post-fight, Warrington actually said the referee stopped the fight too fast? But when he got up, he started walking to his corner like that was the end of the round or something. You know, I think he heard a dinner bell or something, because he stumbled over to his corner. He never acknowledged the ref. So he didn't know where he was, people. But the referee stopped it too fast. Never look back at the ref or nothing. I'm good. The ref is talking. 7, 8. Hey, Josh. Josh was like, it feels like the first time. It feels like the very first time. Where you going, man? Where you going? Man. Y'all don't like Stormy jokes this morning because that's your guy? I'm sorry. Huh? I ain't sorry. I'm gonna make fun till it ain't no fun to be made, huh? Hey, when Warrington got up and he was going back to the corner, this is what he heard in his head playing.
Bud Light presents Real Men of Genius.
Real men of genius.
Yeah. Yeah, man. That's what he heard when he he thought he was in a commercial. Mr. Wobbling Guy to the corner. Here's to you, Mr. Warrington, the man who could not get up inside the count and be ready for the next go round. Yeah, man. Yeah. Man, Stormy is a fool. Don't y'all know that already? Listen, man. Oh, someone dares call the line. Okay, we got 929 calling. Who's on the phone? What's on your mind?
Hey, Stormy, it's learned.
It's who?
Learned.
Learned. Hey, what's happening, man? What's happening with
What's
you?
going on?
Did you like my real man of genius? Did you like my little... I'm a fool this morning, man. Huh?
Sounds like you're in the mood today.
Oh, yeah, man. Yeah, you know. It's like that sometimes, you know. You just wake up and you just feel good, you know. But, hey, listen, I said early in the show, I said I want us to have a great show this morning. Glad to hear you calling. What's on your mind, brother?
Yeah, so I wanted to touch on the Joe Smith and Zerlo fight. And I know we talked about it like extensively last night.
Yeah, it's cool.
But I mean, yeah. But for me, it's like when they announced this fight, like I thought it was a great matchup. Like Smith, former champion, coming off of a tough fight with Better Beef.
Mm-hmm.
Zerlo, former contender, who had recently just fought Bevo. I mean, both guys top 2 both guys lost to the top guys in the division pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it just made sense to me. And I feel that I feel like it made sense for them also to move up at the cruiserweight division because 175 was just hard for both guys to make. Joe Smith even talked about this in his interview with Fight Hype, I believe, and said that he preferred to like fight at 185 or 190. And we all know that Zerto struggled with his weight limit during his last go. But I mean, as you said last night, Joe didn't look like himself. His timing was off. He missed shots. He seemed slow on his feet. And I forgot about his family issues, which you brought up, which could have also affected him. But on the other hand, like Zerto looked good to me. And I might have used a double negative last night, but judging by what I saw, he picked the shots well, targeted, they had the body effectively, moved and countered nicely. And if he keeps this up against tougher opponents in the cruiserweight, I mean, he could do well. But do I think he's on the level of title holders yet? No, I don't think so. Like you said, Opakaya is a great boxer, and he kind of reminds me of Bivol in a sense. He moves, but he hits harder. As for Joe Smith, I think he should take some time, like face opponents he could beat just to get his confidence back.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's it.
Yeah, that's a great point because, as I stated last night, when you look at the two guys, they were coming off of fights against the two best light heavyweights. But one is a decent boxer who's strong and busy and has a great deal of experience in judging range and everything. And that was the guy that Zerto faced in Bivol. Now, when you talk about the guy that Joe Smith faced in Artur Beterbiev, he faced a cold-blooded assassin, a killer who has shown the propensity to go after people almost like systematically, but depending on how you fight is how he amps up his aggression and the things that he needs to do to get his game plan finished and completed. Joe Smith elected to go in there and attack Beterbiev, which is something that you would think, hindsight being 2020, oh, that was the wrong way to do it. But we hadn't seen anybody try to do that to Artur. But he's prepared, man. He's a seasoned fighter. There's nothing fake about Artur at all. And he is businesslike in there. He means everything that he's doing. After that brutal, 2-round annihilation of Joe Smith, if Joe was going to fight again, regardless of, let's not even think about Zerto, he should have been in against a softer touch, someone he can definitely handle and take care of, because he got obliterated. No one had ever done anything like that to Joe Smith. And he's been in there with better opposition. However, all of that being said, when you factor in the personal matters that he's had to endure and everything, dude, he wasn't ready for a fight like that. Not at the top level. And Zerto is top level. You know, that doesn't mean he's the best, but he's in the top 10 of the men in his division. So to go in there with that type of fight, had he lost the decision against Beterbiev and stuff like that, and it wasn't such a brutal type of a loss, yeah, then maybe you could consider that. But I would still say he would have needed the type of fight to come back against something to rebuild that confidence. Zerto, though he fought differently than we've seen him in the past, and I think a great deal of that might have to do with Malik Scott being a part of his preparation. Though he was successful last night, I still saw some problems. And Smith wasn't even able to take advantage of those problems, which means that he wasn't right himself. So it was great that they matched him for Smith because it made Zerto look better. But I'm telling you, if they think that Zerto is ready to challenge for a title at cruiserweight, you know that yellow bus clip I play on here? Everybody that believes in that should get on that bus for a ride and put their helmets on extra tight. Because he's not. And even with Malik Scott, Malik cannot turn a mountain of sludge into a sculpted masterpiece. Not in Zerto, because Zerto has problems outside the ring that will forever hinder him being as successful as one might wish he to be. It showed in the Bivol fight. He wasn't even able to make adjustments in that fight. And even if Malik had been working with him against Bivol, whatever Malik would tell him to do against Bivol, Bivol will be able to adjust to that because he's a far more seasoned fighter like that. And that's the difference. And if he thinks he's going to get in there with a guy like Arthur, which I don't expect that because he's going to try to stay at that heavier weight. Arthur has no intentions of moving up. But if he gets in there with a guy like Arthur, Arthur will take his heart within the first couple of rounds, and then he'll take his ass, pause, the rest of the way. Mm-hmm. And it's just that simple. It's just that simple. And the way that Arthur fights, though he's like 38 years old or whatever, getting close to 40, you might as well not even rule what his age is, because he doesn't do the bad things that fighters are known to do. The drinking, the carousing, the burning the candle at both ends and everything. He's a devout Muslim. He has his family. He doesn't think about boxing when he's not fighting. When they tell him we got to fight, he goes in the camp like Marvin Hagler and gets himself ready and comes out to perform. He's not like these other guys. And people discredit fighters who have that type of mindset of today because we're inundated with a lot of guys who are all flash but no substance. A lot of guys. And flash seems to sell today. Remember, you got women walking around exposing all parts of their body and everything, and that's supposed to be nice and but that's disrespectful. It's offensive. I don't want to go and sit down in a restaurant and a woman is walking past my table and all of her goodies is popping out of her clothes. I got to cover my food up in there. What is that? And we know that a lot of people don't even wash their bottom. So you want to actually be out in public like that? And then you get mad because a man cat calls you, But I was told if it looked like a snake, slithers and hisses, hey, rattles, it's a snake. Huh? So if you advertising everything and it's popping all out and everything, is that what did we used to call that? Whore. Huh? How you going to get mad? You see? So all of this, I know I've said a lot, but at the end of the day, Zerto needs a lot of work, and the work that he needs is outside of the ring, not so much in the ring. I never doubt the fact that the young man can fight. Never doubted the fact that he can fight. But what's going on up there is totally different. Don't forget, he went into the Bivol fight saying, I'm going to avenge Alvarez's loss. Didn't he say that? He said that going in. And he got his ass whooped worse than Alvarez did. So don't forget, he got to deal with that psychologically. But has he? Ain't nobody brought it up. . Joe Smith would have been good to bring it up at a press conference. That would have thrown him off. You see, boxing is primarily a mental thing, because anybody can ball their fists up and punch another person. But everybody can't outthink the other person, because most people aren't put in a position to think, to use their minds.
Right.
Yeah. So, and again, at cruiserweight, I'm telling you, that young man, the IBF champion, I've said his name over and over again. If they think they're going to go into cruiserweight and beat that guy, they got another thing coming. And you got Billum Smith out there. You got Okoli, the octopus. You got some other fighters out there. Zerto, some of those guys, he can't beat them. He could probably beat Okoli because Okoli doesn't fight. All he does is wrap you up, like Henry Akawande, who was disqualified in the heavyweight championship fight against Lennox Lewis, disqualified for holding too much. And that's exactly what he does, Okoli. He doesn't even jab you first. He'll dive in and grab you. It's like, what? This is a fight. What are you doing? Go back and watch the fight with he and Billum Smith. And the worst part about that is those two men sparred in the same gym and camp for several years. They were in the same stable for several years. So that means that there was some familiarity with them when it came down to them getting ready to fight. But Okoli didn't even fight. He just grabbed the guy all night long.
Was that the last fight he fought and lost? Because I know he
fought Chris Billum Smith and lost his title to Chris Billum, who's a solid puncher and a strong guy, but he's kind of crude with technique. But he had enough to defeat Okoli. But Opataya is a whole different animal, man. A whole different animal. You made a good assessment. He's like Bivol, but he's bigger, stronger, and he can punch with both hands. He can go and get you or make you come after him. He has good lateral movement. He has a chin. And now he's growing into the championship. You know, he beat Breeders, unanimous decision. He stopped this guy Thompson by going after him and going to get him, because Thompson was a big dude, 6'6", 82 plus inch reach, and young enough to have something. He just took the fight away from him within the first round and stopped him in 4. I didn't expect that at all. And I'm talking about going in. I didn't expect that to happen like that. And he'll do it to anybody else, because you don't see that same type of ambition in the other guys. Now, if Artur Beterbiev was a cruiserweight and he and Opataya fought, that would be a damn good fight. That would be a damn good fight. But Artur's a light heavyweight.
Right.
So, but yeah, line them up, knock them down. I'm really high on Jai out of Australia. I'm high on him, you know. And I don't get high on a lot of guys, but I know what I'm looking at when I see someone where that mind is going over what the fists are doing.
Right.
Because that's very important. When you... Yeah, go ahead. What you saying?
Oh, I said that I feel like the cruiserweight is very on the look, and as content creators, a lot more they need to talk about this division, because a lot of these boxers go unnoticed, like Opataya. Not many know about him.
Mm-hmm.
And also, as the fans who watch boxing, I guess we have to also do our due diligence as well, because I haven't been keeping up with the cruiserweight, but I know a little. But this is why I come to you.
Mm-hmm.
To learn more.
Yeah, and know that I look around and survey the landscape of the sport. I don't just, I don't hang with one division, or I don't have a cutoff division. I come on here, I be talking about flyweights, bro. You know what I'm saying? It's because when you're watching the sport and you can see, it doesn't matter if they're 110 pounds or if they're 220 pounds plus. What happens in the ring can happen in any division. You know what I'm saying? And so that's where your assessment and looking at what you're witnessing in the sport of boxing, it ferments, you know, it takes root, you know. That's why when like some guys don't want to give Monster Inoue enough credit for what he does, being a little bitty dude like that. But I had said this, go back. I don't know what show it is, but it was before the fight with Stephen Fulton. It was leading up to the Stephen Fulton fight. Everybody talked about how great a boxer Stephen Fulton was and everything, blah, blah, blah. He's a good fighter, you know, defense, don't get hit a lot, blah, blah, blah. He's slick, he's stronger, he's bigger than Inoue. The one thing I kept saying was he does not want to go into that fight and let Inoue hit him. Because when a guy can punch, he can punch. It doesn't matter if he's 110 pounds or 200 plus pounds. It doesn't matter. When you can punch, bro. So the idea is to not let him hit you with his best stuff. Get the hell out of the way. Act like you're in there with Mike Tyson throwing something at you, meaning that you don't be available. You move, get out of the way, get your stuff off. Don't wait for receipts, stuff like that. Fulton got in there, he moved around a little bit, and then it found out that the guy can cut the ring off. So he's moving around, but he's not getting off himself, and the guy is narrowing and closing the gap. And as soon as he hit him with something good, what happened to Fulton? There's an old song from the 50s called I Fall to Pieces. Yeah, that's what happened to his ass. You see? And it happened. And people was like, oh, man, Steven, you know, it was rough. He went over to Japan. No, I don't want to hear all that now. Because what did Stormy say? Don't let that dude hit you.
Right.
You don't let a guy who can punch hit you. People have asked Evander Holyfield, who's the hardest puncher that you faced now in his retired age and everything? And Evander will tell you, on given what day you ask him, he'll say one of the guys he fought in his amateur. I think he said Ricky Womack, a guy that he fought at that time. Or he might mention George Foreman, because everybody knows George is a big puncher. But they say, what about Tyson? He said, well, Tyson never really hit me with anything. And that shocks people, because you would think, well, Tyson is a good puncher, right, at heavyweight and this and that. But Evander was sharp for Tyson. He was sharp. He was on point. He was blocking stuff, catching stuff off the glove. Never let Mike get to him clean. But he was hitting Mike clean, and he stopped Mike in their first fight. Knocked him down with an uppercut to the chest in the 6th round. You see? Because Tyson was off balance. Holyfield threw that uppercut to his chest. Tyson went right on his ass. But see, when a fighter is sharp and they're alert, you're not supposed to be able to hit them with your best stuff. And this is what Evander said. So when people think that, they say, oh, he got to be lying. It had to be Tyson. No. Tyson didn't get anything off on him like that. But that's the difference. When someone prepares properly and someone that just goes in, you know. And I felt like Stephen Fulton just went in. He was so thirsty for the fight, he didn't use the leverage that he had. He should have made it anyway come to a U.S. Now, that doesn't mean he still would have won, because he still probably would have let Inoue hit him, because he's undisciplined like that. But he had more leverage to let the guy come to the U.S. If you really want this fight, come on over here. Otherwise, there's no fight. But you go over there, you're in his home country and everything. And if he is doing something illegal or whatever, he's more inclined to get away with it over there. That's why Floyd and Roy Jones and several other champions from the previous era, they wouldn't go certain places outside the U.S. because they understood how the politicking worked like that. You could be the best fighter in the world, but you go over someplace, they don't let you sleep in your hotel room at night. They're setting off fire alarms, and they sending bad food to your hotel and make people sick and do stuff. And it's now everybody knows about tainted water, but all of these things, bad fruit baskets, all this stuff happens, bro. It's a part of that when you travel. You have never heard a fighter come to the U.S. saying that I got poisoned, or they set fire alarms off in my hotel room at night, or whatever. That stuff always happens in these other countries. Germany, Russia, Australia, the UK. These things happen a lot. And the fighters, boxing, it's a fraternity. A lot of them don't talk about these things, but they happen a great deal. Klitschko reigned for almost 10 years, fighting over in Russia and Germany all the time. And it's funny that when he fought guys in the U.S., he could win fights or get knocked out himself. But when everybody went over there to fight him, they cut up real bad. They had real bad bruising on their eyes and cuts on their faces and everything. To me, that seems like loaded gloves or hand wraps or something. But it's funny how it didn't happen in the U.S., but he's fighting over there and all this stuff is happening to him. Even Tyson Fury talked about when he got in the ring with Klitschko that the canvas was really soft, you know, and that's for a puncher. So he can plant and get you and everything. And a guy who moves and uses legs, soft, spongy canvases will, you know, make your calves tighten up and everything. If you're not used to training on those types of mats, you know. But those kind of things are done on purpose. They make the ring smaller. You agreed, you signed the contract to fight in a 23-foot ring, and you get in there and you're in an 18-foot ring. Huh? Or a 16-foot ring. It's like, what the hell? It's like I can touch the corner over here and stretch my leg out and touch it across the ring. It's like, you know, but they do all kinds of tricks and stuff. So fighters, they don't talk about these things all the time, but they happen all the time. That's why you got to have good people around you.
So for me, I had Stephen Fulton actually winning that fight before it happened, only because I thought he saw more styles. He fought inside when he had to. He fought against strong opponents. For example, one of them is a guy like a strong puncher. He fought fights where he had to be slick. So I thought he saw more styles. And with Inoue, I thought that he only fought fights that were in his favor, if I were to say.
Mm-hmm.
Inoue is good, but I thought Fulton had it. But again, as you said, Inoue, like, he was just afraid of the power. Like, if you get caught with something clean, I mean, that could be it. So.
And he never really tried to go after Inoue, did he? He never attacked him. He never let me lay some leather on your ass. You know, he didn't do that. And you never know how a guy will respond to that. One of the things that Inoue had been heard to have said was he had never even sparred a black fighter before. So it's like, okay, you know he must have some trepidation if he's never done that. So make those thoughts a reality for him. You remember, psychological. If you go in there and you like, I'm going to beat your butt, and you go out there and act like it, he might cower up because it's not really who he is. You understand? But it never got to be that way. It never got to be that way. And again, there are some times and points where these things can come about, but it requires you to have a corner and a camp that can cover the bases for you. Like, I talked about Mel Charlo preparing for his fight against Canelo at home. I'm like, who the hell does that? Even Canelo after the fight, if you watch the the All Access epilogue. They showed him at the post-fight press conference. He said, what, 3 months, he and his camp, they went into the mountains away from his family to prepare for Mel, who was 2 divisions below him. But he still respected the guy enough to go away and prepare for him. Mel is eating lobster and laying up with his kids and his wife and enjoying the lapse and luxury of his home and all of that. That's great that you have those things. But deny yourself that so you can focus on he who's trying to take all that away from you, and you can come out there like the so-called lion that you profess to be. He didn't do that. He you know what he was like? He was like a fat cat. A fat cat ain't gonna chase no mouse, or he ain't gonna get up and do nothing. He gonna lay there and wait for you to fill his bowl with some little friskies, huh? And if you don't do that, he'll go and leave a turd in your bed and everything, because cats can be ornery like that. So instead of laying a turd in the bed, he laid a turd on his fans, huh? In the ring, because that's what he showed at the end of the day. Now, what's really interesting was the All Access showed Derek James telling him exactly what he needed to tell him. He told him at one point late in the fight, he was like, dude, you're about to lose. You want to lose or you want to win? Oh, I want to win. Well, you got to do something. Get your ass out there and fight. And he go out and do the same thing. He never turned up, but he was doing it for the culture, though. What culture was he doing it for? Because I don't want to be a part of that culture at all. I'll pass. Get the hell out of here with that foolishness. You see? And it's like he can get mad. He can watch this. I don't give a damn, because it goes for you, Mel Charlo, and any other fighters who have the same mindset, because it's unprofessional. Derek James did everything but damn take the gloves off of him and put him on himself and go out there and fight. I keep want to call him Alvarez. He told him what he needed to hear. He's like, you got to get busy. You got to let your hands go. He was saying everything he really needed to say, because nowadays they don't always show you in between the rounds. So we didn't know what instructions he was getting, but Derek was telling him stuff. He just wasn't doing it. There's something that they call game quitting. That's when you show up, but you have no intentions of doing anything beyond what you're showing. Right. And you just hope to make it through to the end. And then at the end of things, you can say, I made it to the end. He didn't stop me like he stopped other fighters. He didn't knock me out and this and that. Oh, is that really the victory? Just going the distance? Or is the victory in honoring who you are? You said you're a lion, but you must have been one of the lions in the circus, huh? Because those are tamed lions. A lion in the damn woods, in the jungles, they'll kill you, huh? Them lions in the circus, they're tamed. They riding bicycles and shit. It's like, what the fuck? You looking at that. And that's what we saw. He was riding a bicycle away from Canelo.
That's true. I mean, going into this fight, before it happened, like a lot of us said that Jamel had to be light on his feet. He had to keep Canelo at the end of his punches and commit when he was supposed to. And the only thing he did was pretty much he ran. Like, he was only light on his feet. That's it. And to be quite frank, it's like I don't want to see a Canelo and Jamal fight. Reason being is because I think Jamal shows Canelo more respect than Mel did. Even before this, in the way Jamal was talking about Canelo and how much he wanted a Canelo fight, he never once talked bad about Canelo. Only nice words.
Well, what's interesting is this. We already saw Caleb slap Maul Charlo in the streets, huh? And nothing happened. What do you think gonna happen in the ring when Canelo slaps him upside the head with one of those left or right hooks? The same thing. Nothing. He's just gonna take a beating.
Yeah, at this point, Canelo just needs to fight people at the weight class, not bringing anybody up to fight him. Benavidez, Morrell, those types of fight, Andrade.
Yeah, there are 4 guys that Canelo could face that will all give him something that he ain't looking for, huh? And that's at the top of the list is Benavidez. Man, he don't want to fight Benavidez, just like I wouldn't like to taste that cough syrup that my dad used to try to give me when I was sick when I was a little boy. There was this cough syrup called Father John's. That stuff was so nasty, man. And I would be like sick as a dog, but be trying to pretend like I'm good. I'm like, I'm okay, Dad. I'm okay. Shut up, boy. Take this. I was like, yeah, this stuff was so horrible, man. As soon as it touched my tongue, I wanted to just lose my insides. But that's Canelo when it comes to Benavidez. He ain't trying to face that man for nothing. Then you got Morrell, who the jury is still out on him because he doesn't have the experience of being in there with enough fights, enough styles, enough type of challenges to say, okay, he's ready. He's just looked very good against who they put him in there with. That's, I put him to the side. You got Demetrius Andrade, who's been wanting to fight Canelo for years, who stylistically has the same kind of problems that Bivol gave him. Demetrius could give him because Demetrius can box from range. He can move. He got pop on his punches. And sometimes Demetrius presents something that you can't expect. Like every once in a while, he decides when the bell rings, he go after the guy and go to get him out of there. Canelo ain't trying to figure that out. You understand? It's like, I don't know if that guy going to come to box and move or if he going to come to take my head off. And Canelo ain't good at making adjustments. He just fights the same way all the time. This is why people that say certain things about him, it's like, dude, he ain't no great fighter. He's a good, strong boxer. But when you make him uncomfortable, he gets in bad positions. Lara, Mayweather, Trout, Bivol, they all showed you that. And lastly, there's one other guy. Nobody talks about him. He's the number 1 contender out of Canada, that Christian Mbili. That dude right there, he's the anti-Alvarez. Because he going to fight you until the final bell, or he going to fight you till either you get him or he gets you.
Yep.
And that ain't the kind of fighter that Canelo want to fight either. It's not. So, again, there's 4 fighters right there in the super middleweight division that he is not looking to fight, but he's now looking down at Adames. Adames is a middleweight, right? So he wants to go down again to somebody smaller than him. Listen, man, fight the guys in your damn division. They done let you get by almost 3 years of not fighting these men in your division. And if the public keep buying that, man, y'all deserve to just lose your damn money all the time. But I don't buy into that foolishness. He ain't trying to fight the best fighters out there. And he only the undisputed champion because they stripped that belt from David Benavidez, because if he didn't miss that weight or whatever, I still think there was a conspiracy behind that, because Canelo swooped in and got that belt as soon as they took it from him. He wasn't even thinking about super middleweight until that man lost that title. If that man had never lost that title, Canelo would be ass out of boxing because he wasn't trying to fight that guy. And I'm going to tell you this last, and I'll leave that alone. Fighters know when someone's coming up. Word gets around. Oh, watch out for this kid. He's good. He's coming up. This and that. They heard about David Benavidez years ago. They heard about him. That kid going to be a comer. Better watch out for him. And Canelo was like, yeah, okay. Well, he get together with Mauricio and all of them and say, hey, listen, I'll fight for you guys and everything, but I'm not going to fight that kid. I'm not fighting him. How tall is he? He's like 6'2", right? Benavidez. He kind of gives you the if you saw Zerto last night, he kind of gives you that kind of mindset about himself, because he's a big kid that comes down to make the weight. And the great thing about him in his last couple of fights, he's come in very good shape. Against Caleb, he was in very good shape. He had abs in his stomach and everything. So he's definitely in 23, 24 years old. Canelo is 33. Yeah. So 10 years older, and the kid is 10 years younger, that much bigger and stronger, powerful, got fast hands, which always troubled Canelo, and he got popped. So that ain't what he want. Not at all. But that's what everybody should be calling for. Get your ass in there and fight, Canelo.
Yeah. I feel like the more we talk about people coming up to fight Canelo, is like the further away we're getting from the 168 fights that he's actually supposed to have. And when you compare the four guys that you mentioned, Benavidez and Billy, though they are like similar fighters to Canelo in a way. They come forward and they punch. So I mean, I would give Canelo like a good chance against those guys. The tougher fights, in my opinion, would be Andrade and Morrell, because those guys are going to give Canelo like a different look. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, like I said, I would be more worried about Morrell because he doesn't have the professional in-ring experience. His athleticism and youthfulness and strength, those are strengths for him. Like I said, Andrade, I already explained. You just don't know which Andrade you're going to get. I remember when he got in there against that guy, what's the guy's name?
Quigley.
Yes. He jumped on that dude I wasn't even expecting that. You know, I know how Andre fights, and I was like, oh, that's a new wrinkle right there. And I think, if anything, that particular performance really made Canelo's people say, you know what, we don't want that guy. You know why? Because he's a bigger, stronger Lara.
Right.
That's exactly what he is. And he's got an aggressive point. You know, Lara has stood his ground and been more aggressive in his later years because he doesn't have the legs and stuff like he did as a younger fighter. But Andre shows something that you know, and when you can hit and punch with power and still go after and go get guys, you're dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, all of that, you know, that all of that means so much. And I wanted to say something about talking about these guys, fish out of water type deal. Tim Tszyu looks very formidable right now, but he looks formidable fighting at home in Australia. He comes over here to the U.S. and fights Terrell Goucher and gets dropped in the first round. And the funny thing about it is, over there, we don't know. You heard me mention about the things that go on behind the scenes. So did that happen to Tony Harrison?
Yeah.
Did it happen to Ocampo? It's highly probable and possible. Will it happen to Mendoza? I hope that Mendoza's people are on top of this and listen. See, this is one of the things why a channel like mine, I talk about things, I don't drill it, but I put information out there to let you know what to be careful of and what to watch for and stuff like that. It's educational. I don't think I'm a know-it-all, but I have some things that I can pass on that are topics for attentive discussion. And if these men go over there like that, they can take care. I know Clarissa Shields, when she went over there to face Savannah Marshall, she heard a lot of what was being said and everything. And John David Jackson, her trainer and coach, he was on top of it. They were watching out for her because they knew the rumblings. So Clarissa was inside of a bubble. She had a protective shield around her. And that was a good thing because her performance belied what exactly that she was taken care of. But imagine going in cold turkey and not knowing what the dangers are and everything. Savannah Marshall still ballooned up after the weigh-in almost 30 pounds. How the hell did she do that? She weighed in at 168. But on fight night, she was 190 pounds. Plus, Clarissa was only like 7 pounds over what she weighed in at. So basically, Clarissa was fighting a heavyweight. And that's another reason why her power wasn't what it could have been if the woman just gained like 10 pounds or whatever. Them haymakers that Clarissa was hitting her with would have hurt her and shook her more. But she was a big woman. She's like almost like a man in strength because, some of those Caucasian women that are big boned like that and everything, almost 200 pounds. It take a man to hit them and lay them out. Not that I'm saying that's what should happen. I'm just saying they're strong. It's like Amazons. You know what I mean? So that's what she was facing.
And so one last thing that I wanted to ask you before I leave was, did you manage to see the Terry Harper fight? Because I didn't. So I just
did.
got wind of that she went from 130, then she fought Baumgartner. She went to 135 and now to 154. So what did you think about that fight? Because I didn't catch it.
Well, yeah, I realized because they were super featherweights when she and Baumgartner fought, and Baumgartner blazed her, knocked her out, had her out on her feet. The referee had to jump in and stop that fight.
Right, I remember that fight.
But against Breakus, what I found interesting, now Breakus is trained by Jonathan Banks, and she's 42 years old. And she's been fighting so long that she has Mia St. John on her record, a victory over Mia St. John. So that's how long Cecilia Breakus has been around. And she's from Norway, which makes her, I believe, Norwegian. And she's a solid fighter, a basic, straight up European style. She jabs, throws right or whatever. As I watched that fight, I noticed that Harper was very cautious against Breakus. I didn't know if she was afraid of Breakus' strength or whatever, but she never committed to trying to outfight her. She never committed to trying to take the fight to her. She moved around a lot, and Breakus, Jonathan Banks was trying to tell her, don't be so basic, doing the same thing over and over again. Switch it up sometimes. Jab in and jab her and step back and try to make her come after you. The fight ended up being a majority draw because neither lady took the initiative to try to secure rounds definitively. And that was my complaint about Baumgartner when she fought Michaela Mayer. I felt that fight was the same, that neither one of the ladies, whomever you like, regardless, did enough to take the fight from the other person. They were winning rounds. They were trading rounds. I actually scored the fight in favor of Michaela, but I thought that it could have been a draw, and it should have been so they could fight again and make somebody be definitive. If you saw just a couple weeks ago, the fight with Jessica McCaskill and Sandy Ryan was the same thing. That fight saw McCaskill and Ryan fighting similarly, where no one won rounds definitively. And though I thought that Ryan won that fight because she fought a lot, Sandy Ryan fights a lot like what's her name? Cameron. She fights a lot like Cameron, who McCaskill lost to at super welterweight. So I think that that's a fight that if they fight a rematch, Ryan will get the decision over McCaskill. McCaskill is kind of limited in what she does. She doesn't let her hands go enough. When she does let her hands go, it's primarily hooking and looping punches. She doesn't throw the straight shots that she needs to throw to score the points and to keep someone either moving back or off balance. hooking and looping shots. You could catch them on the gloves. You could slip them. You could weave out of the way of them. And you make a person look bad from whiffing and missing. A lot like what last night Joe Smith was doing. He was whiffing and missing a lot of shots when Zerto was right in front of him. So when fighters have those type of limitations, you can capitalize on that. And I felt the same with the McCaskill-Ryan fight that I felt with the Harper and Breakers fight. Neither fighter did enough to definitively take rounds, and that's why it ended up a majority draw. And that's the kind of thing that can keep these fighters from being, advancing to a new level, because you can't fight the same way and get those same results. You need to get different types of results, and sometimes you need to take the results into your own hands. And the best way to do that is by being active in there, securing rounds, by outfighting the other person, by being busier than the other person, being more aggressive. That doesn't mean you have to fight the whole fight like that, but you pick your spots. One fighter who was a great example of being able to do that was Sugar Ray Leonard. Sugar Ray Leonard could be boxing you, and then all of a sudden he'll start fighting you. And sometimes guys would try to meet him at that, and he'll go back to boxing and look for you to make a mistake and capitalize on that. Other times when guys didn't match that intensity, he would steamroll them because he realized, he ain't got it in him. And he knew how to define that and go after a person and either get him up out of there or take the rounds from a guy. You don't see a lot of that in today's fighting because the coaches and trainers don't really motivate and train you to do those things. It takes a fighter who has that within his own mind and spirit. I need to do this. But it's nice to be taught that that's the quality that you have to have preserved within yourself that can make a difference when fights are close and tight, and you don't see enough of that when these fighters of today are competing, because they'll keep fighting the same way for 10 rounds. And it's like, be mad at the end of the day. I thought I won. You didn't do enough to win. If you had changed up some things, if you had got a little more aggressive, if you really tried, if you pushed the other person backwards in instances, maybe someone would be looking at what you're doing. But when you're just casually going about round after round, like Mel did against Canelo, nobody's going to give you that just for showing up.
So, one last question now that you have said that. So, in your opinion, do you think versatility is better than a person who has perfected one style? And I think you answered it, but...
Absolutely. Because if all you have is that one style, then someone can study how to take advantage of the loopholes within that style. But if you're versatile, I can show you one hand, but have 3 or 4 hands in reserve. Just in the event that you may catch up to what I'm doing, I can switch something up.
Exactly.
You see, if you're single and you're trying to get you a lady, are you going to try the same pickup line every single time after you done struck out a few times, or are you going to get a little more creative and say, let me say something to make her laugh, or let me say something that she may not have ever heard before, or whatever, to break the ice. You don't just keep going, hey, baby, hey, say, hey. Now, she's going to be like, fool, get out of my face. You understand? And when you become more versatile at that, it's like, next thing you know, you said some things and all of them be looking at you. Girl, did you hear what he said? Girl, I wish a man would talk to me like that. You see the difference?
True. Yep. 100% true.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, man, Stormy, was good talking with you today, man.
Yes, sir.
A lot of good things to say. I learned a lot. So, Sunday shows, keep them up.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you calling in, man. It was good to talk to you. I hadn't heard you on here before, so, but this is why I do what I do, man.
I've called in once before, though.
Yeah, it was a long time. Yeah. But I'm just saying, this is why I like, to be able to interact with you all and discuss. And I'll tell you, just like I've told many other people that have called in, the show doesn't really get going until you call in so we can have something to talk about. Because understand that, have I ever not answered a question for you? Have I ever not, you know what I'm saying? It's like, because that's what it's about. Remember, I'm not sitting up here going, I don't know. I always give you something to think about. When I've worked with guys in the gym, I've always presented the same scenarios. The whole interaction begins when you begin to use the brain, the mind, allow thought process to come into what you're doing. Most people are reactionary. So-and-so said this. Oh, I'm mad. I'm going to do this. So-and-so said something here. You know what? They might be right. You know what I'm saying? It's like you think about things. I remember George Foreman. He was on Tuesday Night Fights fighting. He fought a lot of fights on Tuesday Night Fights. But this one particular fight, when he was talking about coming back in his second career, they said, he was telling the I think it was Al Albert or Sean O'Grady. He was telling them in the post fight. They were asking, George, I think you're 10 fights in and you come back now. He's like, how you feeling and this and that? He was like, well, when I first came back and people were making fun of me and everything, and they were saying, oh, he fat and he old, it's like he's old for boxing, because he was like 38 when he first came back. They were saying he's old and he's fat and everything. And he was like, I got mad, reading the press clippings about that, because there was no social media then. And then he said, one day I was brushing my teeth and then looking in the mirror, and I opened my robe and I look at myself. He said, I am fat, So he was saying, he said, well, they wasn't lying, But the funny part about it was he had to laugh at himself. You know what I mean? It's like, you can get mad because somebody say something, or you can listen to what they say and say, there might be some truth in that. You know what I mean? But you can't get too high or too low. And that's where I've come with all of this. It's like, dude, I enjoy this. That's why I encourage people to call in. We can have a great conversation on the sport of boxing. That's what it's all about.
All right. Have a good one, Stormy.
Okay, man. I appreciate you calling. Don't be a stranger, okay?
All right. Thank you.
All right. Peace. Great call, man, from a man Learn. Y'all know him as Teach out there. Salute to everybody. We've had a number of people come into the building since we had the call going on. I know we've got Jay Gibson out there, Boxing and Barbecue. Who else we got? Benjamin Harrington came in. Hen Dog. And Champion Heart. What's good with you guys? Boxer Sparring is out there. Jimmy Bernard. The Messenger 215. Yeah. Good to see all you guys out there, man. Good to see you all. So, line's still open. If somebody else wants to call, you can call in. And let's talk about it. Great thing about Learn's call was I was going to talk about McCaskill and Sandy Ryan's majority decision draw, as well as the Harper Breakers. And there was something that I saw in that kind of makes me, when we talk about Matchroom and Hearn and these rematch clauses that he has for fighters, sometimes I think that they make those decisions to give you more content, to have these fighters come back again and face each other again. I don't think that's the right thing to do. I think if a fighter won the fight, they deserved the decision. Like I felt like Sandy Ryan deserved the decision over McCaskill. But last night's fight, Harper and Breakers, was a little bit closer than that fight. I do believe that the two ladies did fight their way to a draw. There weren't enough definitive rounds to give it to one or the other. So if they're going to have a rematch, the two of them need to really consider, switching it up in the rematch. That someone's going to have to be more definitive about their actions. Yeah. So, but yeah, man, that's what's up. And get back to my little boogie wiggy playing in the background until another call comes in. But yeah, I put this image of Bivol up here handling Canelo like this is what Mel was supposed to do to Canelo. We couldn't do it. So, you know what I mean? So the lines are open, guys. If somebody want to call in and discuss the fights. And next week, we got a big show happening next week, man. And you heard me allude to it during the call, where we got Tim Tszyu taking on Brian Mendoza. And that's a good fight. I hope that Mendoza goes over there with the right frame of mind and can perform, because he's a punching guy as well. The two of them gonna mix it up, and somebody gonna get clipped. I would like to see this one, So that's next Saturday, the 14th, I think that is. So Queen 71 says, I'm out here, but I'm just listening. Queen, call in. Sister, I'd like to talk to you. Why don't you go ahead and call in? Yeah, I know that you give staunch support to the community and what's happening. You show up at the fights. You meet up with some of the other brothers and sisters out there. Call in and talk to Stormy. It's okay. I won't bite this time. I can't promise all the time, but this time I can tell you I ain't gonna bite. Yeah, so call in. She says Canelo looking bad in that clip. He was looking bad in that fight. Bivol wasn't playing with his ass. That's what Mel should have did. He should have started. If he started out the first round like that, Canelo would have been back on his heels. But he started out submitting. And predators, when you submit, they come on stronger. They ain't gonna let up. They ain't gonna be like, I'm gonna give him a chance. No, they gonna get your ass. Did you see him putting his elbow in Mel's face and stuff like that? Putting Mel's head under his armpit and all of that foolishness? It's like, dude, those are bullying tactics. You ain't never supposed to be able to do that. First time he would try to put my head under his, I would have hit him with an uppercut right to the lower portions of that protective cup. Make sure that everybody see it's a low blow. Whoom! He'd never do that again. And if he did try to do it again, the next punch I throw, it's going to be like a right hook, but I'm going to make sure that the fist miss and the elbow come right across his nose. Boom! See, there are things you can do in there, but see, I'm giving away game now. You see, I'm giving away game. Huh? Shouldn't be doing that. Universal truth. Mel bent that knee when they signed the contract. He bent the knee and unzipped the fly. I won't tell you anything else after that. You can leave the rest up to your imagination. But he bent the knee and unzipped the fly. That's exactly what he did. Yeah. Learn is asking, what time in the U.S. will that fight be on? That says 10:30 Eastern time, so 9:30 Central, and that'll be 7:30 Pacific. Universal says Tyson used to use that elbow a lot. Yeah, he did. Hendog says even Canelo didn't let Floyd do that to him. Yeah. Yeah. Makes a difference, man. Makes a difference. Messenger 215 is asking, what was your take on the Munguia fight? Which Munguia fight? Which one? When he fought Deverenchenko, I felt like Deverenchenko won that fight and was robbed. Jaime Munguia has turned down more title opportunities than, you turn down bed sheets at the motel. If you guys didn't watch that Wood versus Warrington fight, I suggest you go back and watch it. It's a darn good fight, man. Leigh Wood is all right with me. I'm just going to say it. I make fun of his haircut and everything, but that dude is a warrior, man. He's a warrior. He don't give a damn. He will fight you. He will fight you. Let's see who we got. Somebody's calling in. Okay, we got 214 in the building. Who's calling? What's on your mind?
Peace, Stormy. This is 704 Joe from Dallas, Texas, home of welterweight champion of the world, former welterweight champion of the world, Earl Spence.
What's good? What's good with you, 704? You finished that bicycle ride, bro?
Oh yeah, man. I feel good. I'm full of energy right now, man. I know. Sometimes, Stormy, I hear people say, once you're a champion, do I have the right to call that person a champion? Can I still call him a champion, or should I say former champion, or which?
You could call him a champ. You could call him a champion because he not only was he a champion, but he was a multi-time champion. He won 3 titles. So, never would I suggest that you take that away. He's a champion. Once a champion, always a champion. He might not be the present champion, but always a champion.
Kind of like ex-president or president, huh?
Exactly. People always, even the former presidents, when they refer to him, they say Mr. President.
Gotcha.
But a guy who ain't never won a title in his life, don't you call him champ?
He might be a local champ.
No, no. Look, I shot you. Look, in my homeroom in high school, I had the best free throw percentage and everything, right? But I wasn't the man. You understand? It's like you don't heap accolades that are not necessarily earned, bro. That's what's wrong with society today. Yeah. You get a trophy. You get a trophy. You get a trophy just for being a part of the show. Get out of here, man. What about the person that put in the work, huh? It's like you got Jordan and Scotty, right? But Jordan was the man, but Jordan couldn't get a lot done without Scotty. So they were like Batman and Robin. So that's what people said. But if you try to say, well, Scotty was okay, but Scotty was pretty damn good, bro. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Everybody can't beat Jordan, So, yeah, go ahead.
Stormy, that was one of my questions. Why don't we just have one belt, man? Just one belt.
Why do we
Definitely
not?
I mean, I know why we have other belts, but would it be better if we just had one belt? One belt. I mean, I know different weight classes. I'm just talking about, let's just say WBZ, and that's it. No more IBF, no more WBA, no more W2. One belt. One belt.
Well,
You got me? Yeah.
they don't want it to be that way because they make money off of it. If you look at now, what might happen that might help boxing a lot is like if Showtime does go out of the boxing business, then one of the things I was hating was like every time you see a fight on, even if it's not the world champion fighting, even if it's too many prospects, or whatever, everybody is, when the fight is over, got a belt thrown over their shoulder. What the hell is that, bro? It's like, you know what I'm saying? It's like that's the
belt.
Yeah.
Champions. Yeah.
So it's like, no, man, someone needs to be, and I shout out to Mel Charlo for saying this. He's like, be the challenger sometimes, and it's true. It's like you need guys who are not necessarily the champ, but a guy who's in contention for the championship. And then guys can fight for the right to be in contention for the championship. That's very important. We don't have enough of that now. Do you know guys are sitting pat waiting for belts to be vacated so they could fight for a vacant title? They don't even want to fight a guy for the title. They're just like, I'll wait till so-and-so vacate and then I'm going to have my people get in touch with the commission and the sanctioning. That's ridiculous. What kind of motivational tool is that? Absolutely none. It's like you're sitting around waiting for someone to vacate a belt. That is really a loser mentality to me, man. I'm sorry.
Yeah. One more question, Stormy. The trainer of Pacquiao, I forget his name, the guy with the glasses. You know what I'm talking about. Trainer, Pacquiao's trainer.
Freddie Roach.
Yeah, how good was he as a trainer?
There was a time in his younger years, he was okay because he was highly motivated, but he was never as good or great a trainer as they tabbed him to be. A lot of the talent that he's worked with, men were quite talented already. Some were even accomplished already. He didn't take a lot of grassroots and bring them up from nothing to something. And that's the difference. When you have a trainer that is grassroots, that can bring someone from nothing to something, or a trainer who can take someone who has had a career already thus far, and he can add to this person's career to make them, to extend their career, to make them a champion again, to give them some more diversity to their game and things of that nature. That's a really good teacher, because being a boxing coach and trainer primarily has to do with your ability to teach. And I remember Georgie Benton once saying, when he was working with Main Events Promotions and Lou Duva and those guys, when they were all working together, he said, my job is to teach, teach a fighter how to beat styles. And the more styles that you're able to teach him how to defeat, the more fulfilling his career or enriching his career could be, because he has diversity to be able to go out and conquer multiple styles and not be restricted within fighting a certain kind of way and hoping for a certain type of result.
Yeah, because I noticed Pacquiao was already established, man. When he got Pacquiao, he got a lot of credit for that, man.
Yeah.
A lot of credit. But soon as Pacquiao was done, that was like he was done.
Well, yeah. And that just goes to show. And that little Filipino guy, I'm sorry I don't remember his name, but he was a part of Freddie Roach's team when Freddie was working with Pacquiao. Now that young man has branched out and started training fighters on his own, and he's had some success. The funny thing is that he came up under Freddie and Freddie's gym, but you know, he's accomplished and is accomplishing. Freddie came up under Eddie Futch, but never gives any credit to Eddie Futch for his knowledge on his game or anything. Never pays any homage to Eddie Futch or anything. And I think that that's kind of biased.
Yeah.
No universal truth. I'm not talking about Boo Boy. I'm talking about that little short guy. Boo Boy is the kind of heavy set guy that worked and was along with Manny for a long time. But there's a little short guy. I can't think of his name right now. But that gentleman has branched off and got his own gym, and he's working with fighters. But he still works with the wild card guys too, I think. But yeah. I think he trains this other Filipino fighter that just fought recently. What's that kid's name? There's another little Filipino kid that fights. I can't think of his name right now. Got so many names in my head, but yeah, man. You know, when a good trainer is available, they can kind of make something out of nothing. You know, that doesn't even mean that they'll make somebody a world champion, but they can make somebody a world-class fighter, you know, because there are not a lot of world-class fighters, believe it or not. There's some guys who are out there, and if you put them in the ring with someone who can tell the truth, you won't hear of them anymore after that. So that's one of the other problems with the sport of boxing.
Stormy.
Yes, sir.
What do you know about Patsy Cline, man?
I fall to pieces. Hey. Huh?
When I go to the Waffle House, when I used to go to the Waffle House, man, I used to play that in the jukebox, man, about 20 years ago.
Listen, man.
Over, man.
Listen, when I said that, only people like yourself would be able to pick up on that, you know. And I was hoping that someone did, but you know, it was on point, though, wasn't it?
Yeah. You know what? She's so good. I don't listen to country music, but she was so good. It transcended all that.
Listen,
she was that good, man. She was that good.
That's where I take pride. You know, Drew Titan and I do that show on Mondays called Nerds on Culture, right? And that's what it's all about, because I've soaked up so much, man. I need another lifetime to be able to share and express what I've gained from this life. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
Right.
it's just, but I enjoy it so much. That's why if you listen to me, I do things like that. I'll pull something out of the crates, as we would say, and it's like, man, where Stormy come up with that? But if you've been around the block, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about, you know. And I take a lot of solace in that, bro. You know what I mean?
Yeah. like Stormy, the other day I was listening to Nikki J show, right?
Uh-huh.
And there was a dirty old man on there trying to give the host some candy.
Yeah. But listen, but you know what was funny? Listen, check this out. Check this out, man. When that super chat went in and said, would you accept some candy from a dirty old man?
Yeah. And
Nick J, she looked at the super chat, she read it, and then she kind of smiled and said, yeah. I was like, that man, listen, it was her birthday, but it made my day. I was like, oh, the old man still could get it going, you know? It's like, that was so funny, though. But you know what? she played right into it perfectly though. So shout out to Nick J, man, for that. That was very awesome there, you know.
They got a nice show, man. They got a good show.
They do. And I be you know, I be listening. I don't always write in there, but I be listening to them, man, and them sisters got some great ideas when it comes to talking boxing. You know, it's funny because, you know, to hear the ladies talk about it, that's very good. That's very good. Very insightful. They're doing a great job over there.
Yeah. I got one more question, and I'm going to let you make it. Could you give us an example of, I hear you and I hear other YouTubers talk about setting traps. Could you give me an example of that?
About setting traps?
Yeah.
Well, in boxing, experienced fighters set traps by getting the opponent to do something that is not their strength or that will be to their advantage. Meaning, like, say if you're a good boxer, okay, you're a good boxer, you got a good jab, you throw nice punches from range, and you've got good lateral movement and things of that nature. Well, to set a trap against a fighter in that type of mode, especially if you don't have the athleticism that guy may have or whatever, sometimes you can put them in a position of drawing them out of that by fainting like you're hurt by a shot, or that you're withering or getting fatigued and things of that nature. A better example would be to go and watch the fight between Roberto Duran and Davey Moore. Davey Moore was a young, up-and-coming, contending championship fighter, and Roberto Duran was a wily veteran at that time. And when they fought one another, one of the things that Roberto Duran would do during the fight to get Moore, because Moore was his intent was to try to be faster and stronger than Duran, move around him, take advantage. But Duran drew him into Duran's best type of fight, which would be to plant and throw punches and be there for receipts and things of that nature. But what Duran was doing to Moore, like when Moore would throw a shot at him, Duran would throw his head around like it really hurt or whatever, even when the shot didn't land, right? So Moore would be there for the receipt, and Duran could counter him with a good body shot or a good right hand cross or a left hook. And then if Moore would move in and try to work the body or stuff like that, Duran would fakingly grunt like, ugh, you know, like if he hit him in the body, Moore thought he was hurting Duran because Duran would go something like, you know, when he throw the body shots. So he would stand there and be there for Duran to get back off on him. And if you look at how the fight ended up, Duran beat the crap out of Davey Moore. But he tricked him. He tricked him into fighting his fight so Duran didn't have to go chasing the guy all night long. And that's a perfect example of a veteran fighter setting traps. You know what I mean? And there are many others, but that's a really good one. If you go and watch that fight, you will see exactly what I'm talking about. There were moments in the fight, Duran would throw his head around, like when Moore throw a shot, like it really hurt him or stunned him, and Moore would stay there like, oh, I got him now, you know, and Duran be like, whap, you know, counter shots, clean, pristine shots, you know, stuff like that. So again, that's kind of what you can get from fighters who set traps, you know.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I remember what was his name? Jorge Castro, when he was fighting John David Jackson, Clarissa Shields' trainer. That was a championship fight. John David was I think the WBO junior middleweight champion, and Castro had a real bad cut over his eye, and John David was giving him the business. But he hit Castro with a shot, and Castro went back like he was hurt. And John David looked to go in and follow up, but he had a bad habit of carrying his hands low. And, you know, Castro, who was from Argentina, he lured him in, and he threw this left hook and hit John David with that shot flush on the chin. Boom! And John David went down like a sack of bricks, just like Josh Warrington did last night. And the funny part about it was John David was trying to get up, you know, but he was really hurt from that shot. And Castro ended up stopping him, man. But he lured him. He lured him in. He wasn't as hurt as he made out to be. But he set the ultimate trap for John David, and he went in there and got caught, man. He got caught. And again, these fighters, I'm telling you, this is why it's like if you study the films, you watch fights and you see things happen, you know, the scenarios are there for you. They are there.
Okay. Well, Storm, I'm gonna let somebody else get some calls in, and I'm gonna let William Osgood know he's not the only dirty old man.
That's for
All right,
true.
man.
Okay, man, I appreciate you. All right.
Peace.
Peace to you. All right. That's the brother 704 calling from Dallas, Texas. Yeah. Yeah, Boxing and Barbecue, that was true about Tank and Rolly. He set him up as well. He set Ryan up, you know. Tank is a smart fighter. He knows how to set traps as well. He knows how to set those traps. So, yeah. But that's what we get, you know, when we have these fights like this, you know. That's what we get. Yeah, buddy. Main Event Mark, what's good with you? I see you out there with them channel emojis. Royal Constrictor says 100. Yeah. Yeah, Boxing and Barbecue says, I think I know who that dirty old man was. Yeah. That was so funny, man. But Nick J, she chimed in with that perfectly, man. She answered that question. She said, yeah. That tickled me, man. That tickled me. But I'm glad that she, you know, caught the humor in that. But that was great. That was great. Yeah. Yeah, Main Event Mark, appreciate you stopping in, man. We're about to wrap this up too, you know. It's just about my time, so to be able to come out here and have a great show with you guys. I had said, you know, early on, I wanted it to be a great show, and it was. Very good show. Shout out to Learn, who came in here early and got me to talking. You know, Stormy can hold court when you start asking me these questions about boxing. So the well never runs dry when it comes down to that. So just know I appreciate everybody, man, your participations. What we try to do around here every Sunday, you know, Try to give you guys the best of what I have. You know what I mean? So that's what's up. Yeah. But I'm going to release you guys to your Sunday. I hope that you enjoy the rest of your day. We'll have some videos coming up for you this week. And look forward to those big fights coming next week. Because, you know, boxing is really good right now, man. It's really good. So I want to say shout out to the mighty LDBC. And we'll catch you guys on the next one. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. And smash that like button on your way out if you did on your way in. Peace.
Get ready to take your striking game to the next level with the Focus Ball. Dramatically improved footwork, timing, head movement, hand-eye coordination, reflex, and overall fight IQ. It's lightweight and extremely portable, so you can train every time, everywhere. When you don't have a coach to do mitt work, get a Focus Ball. When you don't have a heavy bag to hit, get a Focus Ball. When you don't have a sparring partner, get yourself a Focus Ball. And when you just want to have fun punching and kicking, get a Focus Ball. When you train with the Focus Ball, you train your eyes and your brain to read punches so that you can hit and not get hit, making this very simple device a must-have for all combat sports athletes and enthusiasts alike. So if you want to take your striking game to the next level, don't wait. Get the focus ball now.